everybody, and welcome back to Aamsuntitledpodcast. I'm Am. Hi, if you've never met me before, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you for clicking on this podcast. This is a pure Percy Jackson dedicated podcast. So, in the last episode, I did the best of Percabeth in the TV show, so episode 4. And for today's episode, we're going to be doing episode 5, which is my favourite episode in the show for various reasons. If you haven't heard my reviews of the episodes, please do go check that out. It's kind of what I started the podcast with, and then I moved on to the books. But I'm really excited about today's episode because Tunnel of Love was one scene I've been waiting for, and I was really excited to see what they were going to do with it, and it exceeded all expectations. So let's just get on with it. So before we get to that, so the episode sort of opens up with Annabeth, obviously, because Percy's fallen from the St. Louis Arch, so Rover's convinced that he's dead. And Annabeth is like, no, he's alive. I know it. And well, guys, how is she feeling this? How could she be so sure that he's okay? I swear their soulmate connection is just next level. It's just insane. And I really liked that moment. And she's like, come on, let's go find him, basically. So she can't accept the fact that he wouldn't be there anymore, and I love that. It's so cute, so cute. My cheeks actually hurt from smiling because they're just so cute. The next scene I want to talk about is when Percy comes out of the water, and the first thing that he does is apologize to Annabeth, and she's walking so dramatically towards him. In one way, it kind of looks like she's gonna punch him. And I thought it was really funny. And he's apologizing. He genuinely feels bad about what he did, even though he put himself in danger. Guys, where do we find a Percy Jackson in real life? Honestly, he's adorable. How? I don't get it. And she completely engulfs him in this hug, and she's hugging him so tightly. And he's just sort of standing there with his arms hovering behind her back, and his eyes are wide open because he just can't comprehend what's going on. He's like, oh my god, I didn't know if she was. It comes back to that thing in the book where he never knows whether she's gonna punch him, hug him, or kiss him. It's just one of those things. And I love that. I'm glad that they've put that into the show, and even he's surprised. Guys, she's falling so hard. It's unbelievable. You just see the shift in her expressions. After a while, when she Grover interrupts and she pulls away, and all of a sudden it's she's just realized what she's done, and she lets go of him, and she's like, oh, what did I do? Where did that come from? They're so cute. They are just so cute. I'm glad that this episode is the best for Percabeth content. I think there's so much to talk about in this one episode, just because I think it's quite a fast-paced episode, particularly if we're looking at it from a Percabeth angle, and I love that. I love that. And what I love is as they're walking around, Annabeth has gone really quiet, and she's sat next to him, and she's sort of she's not saying much, and he notices, and he's like, oh, I love. Do you know what? One thing I love about him is he's so attentive, and he's like, how come you're acting so weird? And then he does something, honestly, yeah, this part when he brings up the hug, and he's like, it doesn't have to be a thing, that you hugged me. And I was like, oh my god. Do you know the secondhand embarrassment that I felt was unbelievable? I was like, please just shut up. As much as I love Percy, there are some times when he says and does things that are so embarrassing. I remember I had to pause the episode because I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh my god, he low-key just embarrassed himself. But yeah, it was so funny. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I just love that he can't get over that hug. Bruv, she only hugged you, she didn't kiss you or anything. But yeah, it just shows how much those little moments mean to him. And I think he can feel their relationship is changing, and they're turning into better friends, you could say. Oh gosh, they're so cute. And obviously Annabeth is just rolling her eyes yeah, seriously, that's not what I'm concerned about right now. I just love the juxtaposition between the two of them. I feel I don't know if I've said this before, but they're kind of two sides of the same coin, and they're just polar opposites, and I love that. Even though they have things in common, there's just, oh my god, they're just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. They're just, Oh, they're so wholesome. Like there is nobody that can tell me like they're not wholesome because they are. So the next scene is when they enter Waterland, which is Hephaestus's amusement park, theme park, whatever you call it, wherever you are from, whatever side of the world you're from. I think it as it's a theme park. I think that's what we call it. I don't know. Whatever. And Percy says like something along the lines of he's talking about, oh, this like looks like a scene from a horror movie or something. And Annabeth just sort of says, oh, I'm just gonna take your word for it because like I haven't seen any movies. And the first thing that he does is ask her out. And it's like, oh, we really ought to change that. Riz, guys, Riz is coming out. You can see it. Like the same way like the Persassy nature comes out every now and again. Like I see the Riz and I'm like, I can see why like when I was younger, like I never understood why people were so drawn to him. Obviously, I was young and stupid, guys. Come on, yeah, we've all been through that stage. Let's not attack me on that. And like, I was like, I just don't get how he ropes so many girls and Nika. Like, I don't understand. And then like now, as an adult, like when I'm watching it and reading it back, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I see it. I see it. I see it. It's great. I had a little itty bitty crush on him as well. Not in the TV show, not in the TV show, in the books, because I just thought he was really cute. But I can't do that anymore in the TV show because it just drives me crazy that he's younger than me. So I'm just like, no. It doesn't physically feel right to have a crush on him anymore. Oh God. Anyway, so the next part that made me laugh was, when they're on the boat ride, like when they're on the thrill ride of love, and like What Is Love just starts playing, and they just look at each other as Hephaestus's story is playing, and they just look so confused. And like every single time, like what I noticed about that scene in particular is like moments where Annabeth is just like staring at him, and then like the moment she feels like he's gonna turn and look at her, like she looks away, and he does the same thing, like he looks at her until like she's about to look back and then he looks away. Oh, they just I don't get it. Like they're like kids. How are you supposed to know how to portray that yearning for somebody? But I don't get it. I don't get it. They're just phenomenal actors. That's all I can say. They're just absolutely phenomenal actors. Yeah. And I love that he saves her from drowning as well using his water ability. And he didn't use that like intentionally, but he knew that he could save her. Like he didn't want her to be in danger and he found a way to save her and I love that. Oh, they are just I don't I don't know how to describe it. They're just so adorable. And like they just have these moments that make them so special. And like another thing that like I'm just gonna put out there is like you can tell that Rick is one of the writers on the show because there are certain moments that he's created that are similar to the books, not similar to the books, but they still have that Percabeth feel, and I love that. Really appreciate it. Now this is a bit I'm most excited to talk about. So in the tunnel of love, right? Just before Percy decides to sit in the chair. He says the line, "You're better at this than me. You just are, and you know it." So, like, even though like he could potentially lose his life for her quest to succeed, he still wants her to succeed. And because he knows like how important this quest is, he understands that to prove herself, she has to go on a quest, she has to accomplish this. And I think that's why he decides to sit in the chair, not only to protect her, but just because he knows that if she does well on this quest, like her mom will be pleased with her and like she'll stop being angry at her because of what Percy had done. Honestly, Athena's bitch, no offense. She had a character just really gripes on me. Just leave Annabeth alone, man. Your daughter's an amazing demigod child. She's probably the best there is out there. Like, cut her some slack. Let her be with somebody who genuinely deserves her. But yeah. And, when just before he's going to sit in the chair, he gives her Riptide. And it's like that moment is so important because yeah, of course he's tried to give her Riptide before, but that was just to distract her so that he can push her out the way. Whereas this is like I know for a fact that he wouldn't trust anybody else with Riptide apart from her. And you think it's kind of his way of like telling her that he trusts her to make the right decisions, I guess. So the same way like no, I'm not going to say that yet. I'm not going to say that yet, unless you guys haven't seen like the episode, so I don't want to ruin it. But mind you, do you know what? I should really put a spoiler warning in for this because I just talk about everything, and then I realize like afterwards when I'm editing this, and I'm like, shit, I've just spoiled the entire plot. Oh well. If you haven't watched it yet, you're living under a rock, and go check it out. Just joking. I'm just joking. But yeah. Sorry, what was I talking about? Riptide. Yeah, so I'm glad that he gives her that. I think it's his way of saying that he believes in her and he trusts her, and I love that. And he says, I need you to promise me something, and she says, I'm not leaving the underworld without your mom. So now I think like this quest is just become secondary for both of them. Like if Percy is willing to sacrifice himself so that she can carry on, she's willing to die trying to get his mom back. And I love that. They have such a giving relationship. Like, a lot of relationships these days are a lot of give and take, but these two, they just have this selfless love is the only way that I can put it. And God, my gosh, they're just, oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful they are. And, I think that's the moment where, as an audience, you can see like, I think that's the moment they've just become everything to each other. Like, whatever they were isn't important anymore. It's what they've become now that's important. And oh my gosh. And I have to tell you something, the acting in this scene was so gorgeous. Like, they both were tearing up, and I was tearing up. Like, I was getting choked because I was so, like, invested in this. And I'm so happy, like, I was alone that day because it was so unbelievably embarrassing how emotional I got. It's just because like I love these books so much, and I was really worried when they were going to do a show. Like I was excited, but part of me was worried as well. So I was like, this is something that's so special to me. Like I don't want it to be messed up. And the thing I was more concerned about was who they were going to cast for Percy and Annabeth, because I was like, they got to have that chemistry, otherwise like I can't watch the show. But I was so happy when I saw what Walker and Leah put together, and I was like, yeah, they're going to be one of the best couples in TV because their acting is just beautiful, and I'm glad that they've got such a lovely friendship as well. I think it really does help. But yeah, so sorry guys, I was a little concerned at the beginning when I found out they were going to turn it into a TV show based on um the disappointment as a Percy Jackson fan I felt when I watched the movies. Like, I love Logan Lerman, don't get me wrong. Like, his performance as Percy Jackson was great. He made a good Percy Jackson. It's just the movies and the writing of the story that just wasn't right. Like, them as a trio, like the original movie trio, I don't necessarily have a problem with them because I thought that they were great. It was just the movie, like the writing of the movie, the script. It was not the perfect Percy Jackson movie. Sorry, why am I talking about the movie? This is not about the movie, this is about the TV show. But yeah, and I think Walker and Leah's chemistry is just amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of them. Can next year just get here already? Can they just film season 2 and give it to me? Because I'm just like, I'm on the edge of my seat here. Like, I was just like, I really want to know what they're going to do with everything. And I heard that there's a new character coming as well. Sorry, that was season 2 here, where they've written another girl called Allison, who's part of Luke's army. So I'm interested to see how she comes into the story. But then Rick is a writer on the show, and he always makes great characters. So I know for a fact that she's there for a reason, and I'm really looking forward to season 2. I'm excited. Anyway, sorry, we're talking about TV show, we're not talking about season 2. Another scene that was really like monumental to me was Annabeth's speech to Hephaestus about Percy, the gods, her mother, overall like power and glory. That speech was amazing. Like, because the books are written in Percy's perspective, right? So sometimes it can be very hard to see how other characters are feeling, because obviously you can't do that if the books are written in his perspective. But like, the show has given an opportunity for Annabeth to be able to portray her feelings too. And I'm so happy that we get to see that, because I've always wanted to know like how Annabeth felt in these certain Percabeth scenes. And obviously, like, she's just lost Percy, like he's just sacrificed himself so that she can carry on. But I love that when the shield falls, the one thing that she needs to get out and be a hero, she completely walks past it. And, she keeps saying, I'm not leaving without my friend. Like, I'm not leaving without my friend. And, it's just, it really blows my mind because she's so like at the beginning of the series at least she's very about the power, very about the glory of being her mom's best child basically. But since Percy's come into her life, I feel like there's been such a change in what she wants now. That she's realized that what's the point in being like the best if you don't have good friends and you don't have people who genuinely love and support you, whose love and support isn't conditional. You know what I mean? And she's found that in Percy. Like, she knows that his love for her, well, it's not love yet, but his friendship to her is unconditional. Like, he would die to save her. Like, even now, like, they're not in a romantic relationship, they haven't got there yet, but he just sacrificed himself so that she could succeed. And I think that that's such a big moment. And, she's telling Hephaestus that, Percy's better than that. He's got better things in him than that. And, she says that maybe I was like that once too, but like, I don't want to be like that anymore. And you can already see like his love, this friendship, it's already changing her for the better. And I love like Hephaestus is looking at her so attentively, like he can see that she genuinely means this. Like she's not just saying it to get Percy out of trouble, she's saying it because that's how she truly feels about him. It's such an iconic scene. And, I'm glad that we get to hear Annabeth's like internal monologue as well, because we always see how much she means to Percy, because of course, like Percy, it's his thoughts, his internal monologue that we can hear in the books. But now with the show, we can see more of Annabeth's side as well, and I love that. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm so excited, guys. Like, I don't think you guys understand like how invested in this relationship I actually am. And they just make me so happy, it's unbelievable. And yeah, when like Hephaestus releases Percy, like the first thing that she does is she grabs his arm for comfort, and like she's just looking at him like she just can't believe that he's back. And that's so important because in the books like she does that a lot. She reaches for his hand, she grabs his arm, like she does it for comfort. And I'm glad that she finds that comfort in Percy. They are like my Roman Empire, well, technically Greek, but Roman Empire, like, and they are the greatest ship of all time. Like, honestly, I've never read a love story like theirs. I say that like I read romance books, so I'm slightly biased because I don't read other romance books, but I've read like fantasy books that have that romantic angle, but I've never felt the sort of connection that I feel to these two, and I think that that's just so important. Thing. Thank you, Rick, for these two. Honestly, they're just perfection, perfection. Um, and yeah, so those were all kind of like the best Percabeth moments that I pulled from that episode. There was a lot in the episode, and I'm so grateful for that. I think that's probably why episode 5 was probably my favorite. There was just a lot going on, a lot of Percabeth tension, a lot of evolving of their relationship, and I loved that. And they were just Percabething like they've never Percabethed before. And I was just living for it, and I cried in the episode as well. So I think that says more than enough. Cry. I shed a couple of tears because I was so choked. But yeah, I'm really love watching that episode. I watch that episode sometimes like if I've got nothing to watch, like I go back to that one specific episode because I know that I love that episode so much. And like I said, the acting from Walker and Leah was just chef's kiss perfection. So yeah, like I said, they're going to be a really big TV couple. Like there's going to be people that are like just as excited as me. Um, and like I said, I think by the time we get to season 5, Last Olympian, I think I'm just gonna have a heart attack. So can't wait to see them. I'll still be just as excited in like let's say so. When are we looking at season 5 to come out? So if season 2 is coming 2025, let's say it takes 2 years per each season. So we're looking at 2027 for Titan's Curse, then 2029 for Battle of the Labyrinth. So 2031. So how old am I going to be in 2031? This is like, we're looking like way further in the future. So we're looking at 6 or 7 years from now. I'm going to be, oh my gosh, my maths is fucking awful. I'm going to be about 25, 26. Is it uncool that I'll still be watching Percy? Do you know what? I don't really care if it's uncool. I'll do it. Like, I love them so much. Like, I'll do it. And yeah, I can't wait to see um more of them. I'm hoping to get like the rest of my family into Percy Jackson as well so that I can watch it. But then I kind of like it as well because it's like my own special thing. It's something that I can just enjoy for myself. And yeah, I think me and my friends are just going to be going absolutely mental. But I love it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Episodes are available to stream on Spotify and on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe whilst you guys are there. You can follow me on Spotify as well. And I will see you guys in the next episode where we're going to be looking at the best of Percabeth in episode 6. So I'll speak to you then. Mwah! Bye! Oh, I forgot to say, don't forget to follow me on Instagram as well. It's at Aamsuntitledpodcast. I always let you guys know on there when a new podcast goes up. So follow me on there as well. Also, you can DM me any questions as well. I do open my DMs and my emails, so you can do that as well. I'm actually going this time. Mwah! Bye!